Hi there. My name is Julie Levine, and I had a near-death experience on March 12th, 1990. I'm 66 years old. My story begins when I had just turned 31. Who was I then? And that's really relevant and important to understand. I was a mission-driven, but also ego-driven activist. I worked for the Bronx Borough President, Fernando Ferrer, as the Director of Health and Social Services for the Borough of the Bronx. And I was extremely committed to social change. I did not believe in God. I was an agnostic. I believed that if there was a God, it seemed that it was probably didn't look like a human and maybe wasn't a Judeo-Christian God. And I believed in goodness. I thought the most important thing was leading a good life and caring for others and having compassion. But I felt that if there was a God, why was there so much suffering in the world? At any rate, this leads me to my actual experience. It was March 12th, 1990, at 8:30 in the morning. I was on my way to a meeting at the very beginning of what was called welfare reform. All of the counties in New York State were asked to go to the Capitol for a meeting to talk about what this was going to look like. And as a policy person, I was sent. The borough president, our legal counsel, and our other executives were also on their way to Albany for this meeting. Now, my only friend, I had recently started this job, and my only real friend was a young woman named Robin Gold. She was half Irish and half Jewish, spunky and full of life. She was a youth organizer, full of spunk and fire. Everybody loved her, and she liked me a lot and wanted to learn what I knew. And so she offered to pick me up at my home and drive me in a government fleet vehicle, which happened to be a sort of bottom of the line Dodge Aries, and take me to this meeting. So we did that, and we were on our way up, and we were having a wonderful time. She was sharing about her trip that she had just taken to Ireland to kind of rediscover her Irish roots, and was talking a lot about her mom, who she was very close with, but had a troubled relationship with. She lived with her mom. And I was talking, of course, as well, and sharing with her all kinds of information, both personal and professional. We had gotten about halfway there. We had stopped at a rest stop for some coffee. We're back on the road. It was raining and overcast and foggy, and we're driving along. I'm in the passenger side. We're in the slow lane on the New York Thruway by the Kingston Woodstock exit. And suddenly, we see a 18-wheel semi truck, a big truck, literally backing up on the New York Thruway. We were going about 70 miles an hour, the speed of traffic in the slow lane, and this truck was very quickly moving in our direction. And we both knew, I'm sure, in that second, that there was no way that we were not going to have a collision with the truck. So I may have screamed. I hope it didn't rattle her. It's something that's probably bothered me to this day, although as you'll see as this story unfolds, it became almost irrelevant. But at any rate, she saw the truck, swerved the car in an effort to get away from this truck that we were about to hit. Because of the rain and the wetness and the overcast conditions, the car anyway spun out of control, spun around, and hit the truck on her side, on the driver's side door. Now, what do I remember? I remember very clearly my scream and her scream. Then, the next thing I knew, I found myself with Robin, with my friend and colleague, and we were in a tunnel. It's called a shared NDE. It's very unique, but others have had similar experiences. So at any rate, we were in this tunnel together that I'm going to call a tunnel because there was light coming in from both sides at a distance. It was a long tunnel. but it was also a cave. It had moss, rocks, felt kind of cool, but comfortable, shadowy. And in this cave was a presence that was there with us. This presence, for lack of a better word, was a spirit or a guardian, a angel of God, didn't have wings, larger than life. It did look a little bit like maybe a man, but ethereal, shadowy, and it was communicating with both of us. Now, before I go into what it was communicating, I just want to say that it's not unusual that people like Buddhists might have an experience with Jesus Christ, or a Christian might have an experience with Buddha. Religious symbols, I believe, are a way that we make sense of our experience. So oftentimes it's less the visual image as it is the underlying feelings and spiritual awareness. So I had no question that this guide was a guide of God. It was sharing with both of us telepathically, there were no words. And it was sharing that we were about to go somewhere extraordinarily wonderful, beautiful, blissful, that nothing in our life experience was going to prepare us for the experience that we were about to have. And that one of us was going to have to come down. Apparently, only one of us had the strength to make that trip. I'm not clear about that part, or one of us was going to be able to come back. But either way, I knew right away I wanted it to be me. I wanted to live. I knew it meant life. I didn't know what the spirit was sharing about the greatness of where we were going, but I wanted here. And then I felt really guilty. My guilt was the closest thing I experienced to a life review, because a lot of people who have near-death experiences go through a kind of a life review where they see what they've done wrong, they see who they've hurt. It's like an opportunity to kind of clear the slate, if you will. I didn't have that, but I did have a real guilt feeling because Robin was young and she was wonderful and she really had the biggest heart. And what made me more deserving than her? That was what I was stuck with. But that became pretty irrelevant because suddenly the tunnel cave kind of turned and we were catapulted upward like a vacuum cleaner, suctioned up. And then we had no more bodies. We were in the light. No body, no memory of earth, no pain. All of the pain that we hold while we're in the earth realm was all gone. And everything was part of everything. Best, I guess, nirvana state, womb state. These are the kinds of analogies that I could find. But everything was part of everything. I didn't have any thoughts up there, but I just felt a part of everything. I felt like a soft light and a soft, perfect temperature water and just swirling of energy and light and love. That having been said, the only thing that was distinct, the only awareness that I had that was a specific, distinct experience was the energy that had been my friend Robin and my energy. I felt a swirl connecting the two of us. I felt her peace and I felt her love and I felt her completeness. Which has been very helpful to me ever since. And then I have no idea how much time went on because this is outside of time as we know it. But then I found myself not able to move, not able to talk, with a horrific headache. My eyes were killing me. And I was looking up at what appeared to be an alien with 3 eyes, 2 eyes sort of in the right place, but moving, and the third one was on top and it was moving all around. And I was like, I did not want to be there. First feeling was like, I want to be back. I wanted back in the light. I did not belong in this place. Well, it turned out that this alien was actually a doctor. I had something called diplopia, a paralyzed fourth palsy of nerve, eye nerve. And no, I had a vertical and horizontal diplopia, double vision with no stability of gaze. And so everything just kept jumping. And also the headache. Well, I'd had a major head injury. I was looking up in fluorescent lights. And my jaw was wired because I had multiple breaks in my jaw. They'd had to reconfigure my jaw. And so I couldn't really talk and I couldn't move. Apparently, I had cracked my hip and something else. And so I was in traction and I was in a room in Kingston Hospital. Well, as soon as I gathered my wits about me and was able to, I tried to communicate to this doctor. All I wanted to know was, where's Robin? I wanted to confirm my experience. I just felt like I didn't belong. I felt like really an alien in this realm, and I wanted back, and I wanted confirmation that she had gone to the light and that we had died together. Well, they wouldn't tell me. Apparently, I was still in serious condition, and they were concerned about upsetting me, but they didn't understand that nothing upset me more than not knowing and being lied to. Everything felt wrong. So they told me maybe she's in another hospital. We didn't know. They didn't have that information, this kind of thing. Anyway, long story short, I was grateful. I had a wonderful nurse that my mom hired for the nighttime, Joan Perpetua, which means perpetuality, like foreverness. And she understood. She had had patients that had had near-death experiences. She really encouraged me to talk about what happened. And finally I did. And I also had my mother had a younger cousin, a woman named Carla Galpier Horton, who had had a similar experience. And she called me in the hospital to support me and to help me through. And again, encouraged me to talk about what had happened. She told me people will want to make it go away. Like, get on with your life already. Enough of this. And she said, but it'll never go away. It's more real than life itself. And don't ever, ever try to push that away, and it will change you. And she's right. It is more real than being here today, than anything that I could share. It has changed me so much, to the point of I can no longer really live in a city. I have to be in the woods, in nature. I have to feel the connection to spirituality, to love, to God, if you will. And what's most important to me now is being compassionate, caring, and being kind and loving others. It's a very painful place that we live in. It's not to say that life is bad. It's so wonderful in many ways, but the challenges, the pain of it, all of it. And it's difficult for people. So I try to live my life as close to the light as I can and help other people that are either struggling with their own death and dying issues or with that of a loved one. So that's what I try to do. And I encourage all of you to do the same. I mean, we don't have that much more time. We're living in a time now where I don't think kindness is sufficiently valued. Where love for all, understanding that we are all human, is insufficiently valued. So I'm hoping that there's something in this message that anybody listening finds helpful. I really hope so. The information about how to contact me is going to be shared in the description box, or has been shared. So absolutely feel free to reach out. I do promise to respond. I don't know if I can help. Many people ask me about psychic nature. I do feel I have some psychic nature. I can feel the pain of others. I sometimes can feel what's about to happen, but it's not something I can conjure up. It's not something that I can, make happen at will. And I don't believe that psychic nature is something that should be used for profit or for personal gain, only for the love and the caring that I've identified. Well, I think that's mostly it, what I wanted to share. And I thank you so much for listening today, for caring about this important issue. what's not tangible, what we don't see, but what is, after all, what embraces all of us. Thank you.